Welcome to another video in the custom tackle playlist. This one is going to be on tube jigs, and they are one of the easiest pours that you can do in custom tackle making. So enjoy the video, and as always, if you find it helpful and enjoyable, a like, share, subscribe is always very much appreciated. A special thanks to my buddy Don Jeremy for sharing his custom tackle expertise. He's been making baits for over 42 years, and I sincerely appreciate all that he is doing to contribute to this series. All right, so we are now going to pour some tube heads, and these are pretty simple pours. So there's the mold that we are using, and let's see you pour some, Don.
Sure. Nice thing about these, you're multi-cavity molds, so you can pour up a bunch of hooks at the same time. I'm pouring 5 different size, the 6 cavity mold. I'm going to pour 5 at a time. Put your hooks in.
Hooks just lay neatly in the mold. Close it up. And there they are. Again, he's going to let them cool down a little bit. I'll open them up. And then the pliers, again, because they are hot, put them down. And once again, let them cool down a little bit before he breaks them off. But once again, with tube heads, they are going inside a tube, so you don't have to worry about filing or being pretty with them. And pretty simple pour, eh, Don?
Yes, sir.
And they, tubes have been around forever, tried, tested, and true. Great baits. So that's another installment of the custom pouring with Don Jeremy's Custom Jigs.
That jig man.
That jig man. Gotta like it. The lead has cooled down. Don, show us again how to break them off and finish the tube head.
Sure. You grab the jig, grab the pair of pliers, pop it off. It's done. Simple as that.
Once again, it's going inside a tube, so it doesn't have to be pretty, just has to be effective. Here's a 3/16 jig head that's a custom. You can see it needs a little bit of trim work around the eye, and the excess lead needs to be snipped off, and then it's good to go. Tubes are one of those tried, tested, and true baits. This is a Berkeley power tube, and it has been around for a long time, just like many other tubes, and they have stood the test of time because, quite simply, they work and they still work today. So all you do is you take your tube jig and you take it and you put it inside the tube, you push it all the way up in, and as we'll show you in the video, we'll give you some advanced tips, but we'll also show you how to make sure you put the right size hook in. And you can see this hook goes to the end of the hard plastic part, and then you've got your tentacles, so that fits perfectly. And that's your basic tube jig used for smallmouth bass. The final thing you have to do with this tube before using it, obviously, is take the plastic and just pop the eye through, and now you can see that you can tie into that. And I strongly suggest you use a fluorocarbon leader and a braid as your main line. I like to use a longer fluorocarbon leader for a variety of reasons, but mainly just so that the fish don't see the braid. Here are some examples of poured tube jigs, and they are the tools for the job. So in this case, you have a 1/16 ounce, which is going to be used in shallower water, slow falls, and then you gradually go up. You have a 1/8 ounce here, you have a 3/16 ounce here, you have a 1/4 ounce here with a modification that I will share with you a little later on in the more advanced section. And there is 3/8 and there is 3/4. These are all on 4/0 hooks, and you can see with the 3.5 inch Berkeley power tube that it is a really nice fit with that, and you want to make sure you match the hook size to the tube. In the top tube, which is a 2.5 inch Berkeley power tube, it is a 4/0 hook, and you can see that the hook is almost near the end of the tentacles, and that's going to limit the action, and it is just too much hook for that bait. In the bottom one, you have a 2/0 hook, which is a much better fit. The beauty of do-it-yourself custom tackle is that you get what you want, when you want, and the amount you want, and that is super critical, especially during these times. Occasionally, when you are in rocks or weeds, a jig hook with a 60-degree eye can be effective at reducing snags. And once again, a variety of sizes for the different applications will give you the best tool for the job. As always, I like to have a little something for everyone. So here's an advanced tip as to how to make your tube head a rattle head. Just simply using your tube head with the hook, a piece of shrink wrap, a rattle, and a source of heat. I have the shrink wrap threaded onto the shank of the hook, and I'm going to take my rattle and I'm simply going to place it inside the shrink wrap, and I just want to get it in there snug. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to take my source of heat. I'm just going to turn that here. And again, just add the heat to it, and you don't need a lot. It's a glass rattle, just enough. I'd normally use a heating gun, but I didn't want the noise of the heating gun in there. And so there you basically have it. The rattle tube head is done. Here's the finished product. It didn't really take very long, and you saw how simple it was. And there's your rattle. And sometimes that clicking sound along the rocks will simulate a crayfish clicking along, and it might just up the number of strikes you get. One of those advanced tips that I hope helps. A small bag of shrink wrap and rattles in your tube box can go a long way if the rattle tube jigs are the bite that day. Keeping a little pair of side cutters around is quite handy, as you can easily take, in this case, a 3/8 ounce tube head, and you can modify it by nipping off some of the tip to make it a little bit lighter to match the conditions you're facing. And if you want to make it even lighter yet, nip off the tip, and you can nip off the back. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not that hard to do, as lead is pretty soft. That's a wrap for this video on tube jig making. We have videos that are in the works. One's on Ned rigging and another that is on making Nico weights. They are both pretty exciting and some awesome tips to help you get started into your own custom tackle making. And as always, we follow philosophy: get what you want, when you want, and the amount you want. So enjoy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.